Welcome to the Maven Marketing Podcast. Today is Maven Monday. I'm your host, Brandon Welch, and I'm here with Caleb. Give us your back-to-school advice, AG.
Oh, my back-to-school advice? Pack a good lunch.
Pack a good lunch.
Yeah, I always bring my lunch.
That's what dreams are made of.
That's right.
We are fully back in school mode. Actually, we have nothing to do with it. Our wives are leading amazing things in our homes for the 8 homeschoolers we have in our possession. And if you are also back to school, your kids are back to school, we say congratulations. And with that, let's get nerdy today. Actually, let's de-nerd. De-nerdify. Do you like that transition?
De-nerd.
So if you are in any form of conversation about digital advertising, you are going to hear some stuff that is just often going to go in one ear and out the other. There are a lot of well-meaning nerds who are either trying to sell you something or get excited about something, and they're going to throw out things like CPC and CPL and CTRs and PM and all of those, nerdy sounding things around digital advertising. And it's like, you would love to care, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But if you were like most business owners, in fact, a recent survey found that 68% of small business owners are overwhelmed by digital marketing terminology, and half admit they don't understand how to evaluate their campaign performance.
Yeah. And the danger is you sit across from this person and they're like, hey, we just got you a blah, 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 and they start sounding exactly like the parents on Charlie Brown. And then they lean back and smile as if you should be throwing a party.
And you're like, well, they're younger than me and they're smarter than me, and
that sounds
they know how to do stuff on things, and so it must be good.
So this will be your reference episode. We're going to try to keep it short and simple and clean, and you can come back and say, well, at least these terms I understand and I know how to ask the questions around them.
A wise man said once, son, don't tell me how the clock is built, just tell me the time. We're going to teach you how to tell the time on your ad performance, and here it goes. There's 5 metrics. We're going to cover impressions, what that means, click-through rates, cost per click, conversion rate, and ultimately cost per lead. These are really the only ones you need to know and ask about, and too often, these are the ones that the nerds actually don't want to tell you about because they're the ones that may be revealing some bad performance.
Could be moving in the wrong direction. So quick. Number 1, what is an impression, Caleb?
Mm-hmm.
An impression is really some eyeballs have seen your ads, a set of eyeballs, hopefully, unless it's a pirate. Maybe they've got like a patch on or something like that.
One person or 2 pirates have seen your ad for one impression, and it just means your ad was seen.
It was seen.
Practically on Google, that means it displayed if somebody searched it, or on a web page, the display ad showed up in the viewing window of the person. On Facebook, it showed up in the news feed or the reel.
Any social media, YouTube, all of those, it means essentially it was seen. Yeah.
And so everybody's going, well, how many impressions do I need? In a month's time, there are a lot of people selling, 10 or 50,000 impressions, or like a very relatively small number of impressions. I'm going to say if you're in any local market and you want digital ads to make any sort of meaningful impression, you need a bare minimum of 200,000 in 30 days. So anything under that, especially if it's display related, like Facebook or Google display related, it's just not really going to move any sort of needle of relevancy or recall if you're not at least in the couple 100,000 territory.
Yeah, but
so don't get excited about 10,000 impressions.
Yeah, don't get so excited. This is the number. It's going to be the biggest number because it's how far you went. It's all of that. And just because you had impressions doesn't mean they were impressed. See what I did there? Impressed
what you did,
with your ad. And the next one we're going to talk about is click-through rate, or it's sometimes called CTR.
Yes.
You'll hear this a lot.
This is where you really know the value of that impression.
Yes.
So your ad showed up and it's like, who cares? Well, the people that clicked on it cared, hopefully, right? If we're talking about search, there are sort of some benchmarks. In Google search ads, we want to see at least a 3% click-through rate on the ad. That's probably bare minimum. I would say our ads are more in the 5 to 8% because we're really obsessed over the copy we're writing. But in a broad just definition, it's like how many people cared, what percentage of people cared enough to click on the ad.
Yep. And so it's expressly, or the math for it is impressions, how many people saw it, divided by how many people clicked on it.
Yes. And now if you're thinking like, okay, I'm in search ads and I'm going, I'm selling lawnmowers and I want to bid on the keyword lawnmowers and people search lawnmowers, that's going to be a higher percentage than people who are just randomly coming by a Facebook ad or say a display ad on a website.
Mm-hmm.
So let's call it 5 to 8% is good on search. Like if you're below that, I promise you could be doing better. Something is off, and either you're bidding on the wrong keywords or the ad just was not as snazzy or appealing or didn't have a clear offer or didn't have a clear promise in the text. Again, thinking on search engine pages as maybe the ads around it.
I'm going to bet that if you get a Google Ads report from your data nerd and they show you click-through rates or CTRs that are lower than that, they're not just running search ads. They are probably running a Performance Max campaign or some sort of discovery.
Kill it now.
And you need to ask that question. What kind of campaigns are we running? Are these search only ads? And that will stop the madness as quickly as possible, because that means you're showing display ads and video ads and all these other things that you don't care to show.
So just for super clarity, click-through rates, like if you're on search, 5 to 8%, look for that. Anything below that, start asking questions. On Facebook, if you're doing lead generation ads on Facebook and you give them a really good reason to click, such as an offer or a coupon or a fill the form out, you want to see at least a 1% link click-through rate. Do not let a Facebook nerd give you a total click-through rate. You want link click-throughs. Facebook will count the number of clicks and the times people clicked on the picture, and it doesn't really matter. What you want is how many people actually clicked through on the offer.
Went to the next page.
Yep. That's a 1% or better on Facebook. Anything below 1%, you could be writing better ad copy. And then on display ads, like we don't do a bunch of display ads just for the record, but if you are doing that and you're going, what is good? Because they've been talking to me about my click-through rates, 0.2, 0.3, 0.2%. 0.2%, yeah.
Yes.
Not 0.02, but 0.2% on display ads. And you have to think, people are trying to read their news and they're not trying to just go click on some random ad. Now, it doesn't mean that ad didn't have any value from a brand or recall standpoint. It just means that if it didn't get at least 0.2, 0.3% click-through rates, it's far below what the norm is, and it means you should be getting a bigger fair share of clicks. So 5 to 8% on search engine, 1% link click-through rate on Meta, like Facebook, Instagram, and then on display ads, 0.2 to 0.3%. Anything below that, you could be doing better with your message, and it's a pretty good cue that the ad is just not relevant enough for the audience.
Yeah.
That was click-through rate. This is easy. This next one is cost per click. There are a lot of ways to measure the cost and sort of efficiency per campaign.
Yep.
But we wanted to throw this one in there because somebody could talk to you about, well, you got 586 clicks or a 2% click-through rate. And it's like, okay, but what did they cost me? Okay. Let's just start with search, because that's where cost per click kind of varies the most.
By the way, they'll say CPC.
CPC is the abbreviation. So cost per click, not to be confused with cost per conversion.
Correct.
I hear a lot of people interchange clicks and conversion, and that's just, you don't want to do that.
You got to be careful with CPC. Make sure you define the last C.
The click just means they clicked on the ad and they got to your landing page. It does not mean they became a customer. It does not mean they became what we're going to call a conversion in a minute. It just means they clicked on the ad.
Yep.
And so you want to see on search a really low cost per click, and it's driven by competition usually, but a really low cost per click is probably $2 to $5
in Google search.
In Google search ads. On our more competitive categories, think home improvement, think attorneys, think commoditized services that have high value, insurance. You could literally be in the $10 to $50 range for some attorney driven stuff. I've seen it in the $50 to $100 range
easily
in big markets.
That's per click. So you ran an ad, and to get that click, you paid $50 or $5.
Yes.
It could be any end of that spectrum.
Yes. So when you've got this, when you've got a high cost per click, it basically raises the stakes for everything else, because if the competition level just required a really high cost per click, you really have to do really good on this next metric, which is cost per conversion rate. Sorry. But a couple of other benchmarks on Meta. man, anything in the dollar range is solid on Meta for a cost per click. And then on display ads, gosh, it should be pennies. Like, it should be pennies, because you should be getting a lot of display impressions for the dollar you're spending.
And for the record, CPC also used to be kind of a term that people used for Google search ads as well.
Or PPC,
pay-per-click. And so pay attention to that. Google ads, you don't actually pay until they click.
Yeah.
Most other ad platforms anymore are more impression based. So it's based on, the people they show the ad to, but Google and, Bing ads or whatever are still PPC, and it's based on this cost per click is actually when you pay.
Yes.
That's when the money is getting charged to your name.
Yes.
So,
and last thing I would say on that is just if you're feeling things are off, you're not getting the volume, you feel like you're spending, a good couple grand a month at least on, on Meta or search, and you're going, I'm not feeling it. Ask, hey dude, what's my cost per click? Mm-hmm. And if he's like, it's $50, you're like, oh, well, that's why, because maximum, you're not going to get that many clicks.
Yeah. You can just divide that by your budget. It's going to run out really fast.
Yeah. If it was $2,000, you'd get 40 clicks for that, right? Mm-hmm. So, and so we're going to go on to conversion rate. This is simply the rate at which that click converts into the action you want. And we're going to suggest that you, for sake of performance measurement, you have that either as a lead generation form. So somebody who, wanted a price on a new roof, they clicked on your roofing ad, and then they went to your site and filled out their information and said, please give me a price.
Yeah. Schedule a consultation or
they called you. Like, and you can do some call tracking with either CallRail or the built-in call tracking on Google search ads. Mm-hmm. And you just want to set some metrics, like only measure the conversion if it happened, if the call lasted like 60 seconds or longer. So when you're looking at that conversion rate, that's just simply saying, okay, you got 100 clicks, and let's say you got a 5% conversion rate. Well, only 5 of them turned into either a form fill or a phone call that you could do anything about.
Yep.
The other 95 went to your website and left.
Yep.
Right. So your conversion rate is really the ultimate leverage on everything. You can control CPC a little bit based on what you decide to buy or not.
Mm-hmm. But that's tough. That's based on a bidding war, basically.
Right. You can control CTR just by writing better ads, but none of that matters until they convert into like the person that raises their hand and says, hey, let's try to do some business together.
I'd like to do business with you. Yeah. And I think the thing on conversion rate I want you to pay attention to, just for your safety, I've seen a lot of Google ad accounts specifically that are tracking conversions that are not truly conversions. Even like page view as a conversion, or did maps to your business. Well, that may, if you're a retail destination, I might count that, maybe.
I wouldn't.
But okay, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to maybe play devil's advocate here, but most of the time, I don't call that a chance at business. They just looked up directions to you, and so just pay attention and say, what are the conversions we're talking about? Make sure it is like a form, a call, or if you're like e-commerce, it would be like a purchase online.
Yep. So to improve in conversion rate, what makes the difference in a 5% conversion rate or a 10% conversion rate? By the way, if you don't have at least a 5, something sucks and you got to fix it. Mm-hmm. Any landing page, any homepage of a website, bare minimum 5%. If your nerd tells you your conversion rate is lower than 5%, you have problems with your website copy or the perceived value of your offer. Mm. And so you're either not making something clear enough, you're not showing enough proof that you're the one that can do it for them, so you don't have good enough pictures and or reviews. Or you're putting too much friction on that form.
You didn't make it easy enough. Or the form doesn't exist.
Yeah. We got a consult this week, and it was like somebody that, we're not getting any forms on our website. And I looked at it, and it was, I'm not even kidding you, 40 questions to fill out the dang form.
I'm not doing that.
By the way, make it like 5 questions or less. Don't just do name, phone number, email, but do name, phone number, email, and like, what are you interested in?
Yeah, a few qualifying
questions. That tends to bring in the quality of the lead good enough and the trust that they're going to get value from you, while not slowing it down so much that like screw this. I'm just going to call you.
Speeds up your conversation a little bit.
Right.
You're prepared.
So we went all over the place there. If we're talking about a landing page or a homepage of a website that is like where the ad clicked to, 5% bare minimum. Guess what? At Frank and Maven, most of ours are like 10, 15, 20%.
Mm-hmm.
If you've been doing tomorrow marketing for a long time, we have some that are in the 25 to 35% range. I can think of 3 right now that are easily in that. And that's because people trust them so much. We've dialed in that landing page. And think about that. If you have a 20% conversion rate versus a 5, you did 4 times the lead volume with the same budget.
That's right. Your budget did not change 4 times the lead.
Just because we're getting good with the messaging. Go back and listen to some of the episodes. There's an episode called How to Increase Your Lead Volume Without Spending a Penny.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good one.
Yes.
And we just talk about how to write really good, clear landing pages. It's actually common sense. It's the things you want when you're clicking on stuff. You just need to do it for your own company. By the way, on Facebook ads, on lead gen campaigns, they don't give you a flat conversion rate in Facebook, but you can divide your number of leads you got by the number of clicks you got. Number of leads by the number of clicks, and that would give you your percentage of conversion.
That's right.
And if it's a lead gen form, that puppy better be converting at least 5%, but it should be 10 plus all day long.
By the way, that's a form that keeps them in Instagram or Facebook, and they fill it out right on the next page.
Yes. So back to you. You just need to ask your nerd, dude, what's my conversion rate? And if he says anything under 5%, you're like, I think I better get a Maven on this.
Yep.
I better submit a question to Maven Monday at frankandmaven.com and say, hey, why is my conversion rate so low? Tell me, Brandon and Caleb. So
yes.
Or even better, you know what they could do?
They can join the mastermind.
And that's where every other week you're getting live support from Caleb and I and the Frank and Maven team. And it's like, bring all this stuff. Be like, hey, you were talking about these metrics. Are mine looking good? We would love to have you on the mastermind. Fraction of what it would cost to hire our team to consult you direct or to do the work for you. We're teaching you and you get to go do it and take it back to your ad people. And it makes everything better. Last metric. Actually, how do they get to the Maven Marketing Mastermind?
MavenMethodTraining.com.
Maven Method Training. Sign up for that and start submitting your questions after you're on. Last metric, Caleb.
Okay, here it comes. Last metric is cost per lead. Now, I'm going to be careful here because we abbreviate this. We can see CPL. We already mentioned earlier, some people call it cost per conversion, and they could abbreviate that CPC. That gets confusing. I've also seen cost per acquisition, CPA, not accountant.
This metric just it's really what all the others lead to.
Yes.
It's the end result. It's the lagging result.
This is really, though, at the bottom line, at the bottom of the paper, you jump to the back in the bottom corner of the sheet to see your balance sheet on your P&L and you know how you did. This is the one you want to know. For your marketing metrics, if you're doing any sort of today digital marketing, cost per lead is the end all. Like,
it pretty well sets the tone because all you got to do from there is set the appointment and close the sale.
Yes.
And so if you're dealing with a $500 cost per lead and you're only making $1,000 per sale, you better be batting at least a 50% or you're going to be in the hole big time, right?
Yeah. Well, it's the quickest way to translate your marketing costs, your marketing efforts to profitability. So much quicker. And all these other metrics we talked about before this will affect the CPL, cost per lead.
Yeah.
But you need to know what this cost per lead is so that you can do fast math to find out whether you're making money or not.
Yeah, really divide your cost per lead by how often those leads set to an appointment, by how often you close those sales, and then you're going to get how much marketing cost you're going to have in that sale. So
cost per lead is easy. It is essentially you take the cost divided by your total your total amount of leads.
Yeah.
So
if you want to compare some benchmarks, if you're on Google and you're in any of the home service or professional services category, anything from I would say $75 to $250 is probably about average right now. Google cost per leads have gone up a ton because look up the chain. Google cost per clicks have gone up, just the inventory, and conversion rates have probably stayed roughly the same if you haven't done anything. But that cost per click, just because they paid more per click, and then even if it converted at a 10% rate, that's just driving that cost per lead up. It's just, they're all ratios. It's third grade math. So, gosh, anything above the 200, 250 range, I'm going like, let's dig a little deeper.
Well, it's going to be hard depending
on
your average customer value. It's going to be hard to make money at that point, and your sales close rates and all of that. And so you need to know we're here to help you eliminate waste in advertising and grow your business. You can't grow a business unless you be making money. So we got to make sure that you're making money at the end of the day. And this number will tell you pretty quickly whether you are or not.
Yes. Now, the beautiful thing about even a high cost per lead on Google is they tend to be ready to buy because people go to Google at the finish line. They're going, hey, I'm ready to take the action. So those will have, on average for us, if you're a service-based business, 60 to 70% appointment set rate, maybe even higher, but you can take 65% to the bank. And then how good are your salespeople?
Yep.
So $100 cost per lead divided by a 50% appointment set rate equals a $200 cost per appointment. And if your salesperson closes at 50% of the time, that's a $400 cost per acquisition.
That's math you got to pencil out in your head when you're talking to your digital nerd. You're going to get them to bring you the cost per lead. They most of the time won't go into sales. And so you got to know how your team...
should.
They should.
If they were a Maven marketer, they would.
They should, but they probably won't.
Yes.
Especially if you're watching this episode and you're confused, they probably aren't.
You'd be like, hey, Jack, we're not going to throw a pizza party over clicks and impressions.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how much I actually sold with this dadgum advertising.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing is almost the first three numbers we just talked about, a lot of marketers will hang their hats on these metrics. And
you're going, ooh,
they are levers that we have to pull to make this machine go. But they, in and of themselves, mean nothing as it relates to the outcome of your business. Your business does not grow because of CPCs. It does not grow because of impressions. It grows because you get conversions, you get leads, and you get an opportunity to do business with somebody. If you don't get an at-bat, then you have no chance at making a sale.
You might as well have saved the money and gone and knocked on doors or built some, tomorrow marketing campaign with that dollar that makes you famous. Look at last week's episode on how to do that. Last thing, so we talked about Google cost per leads, 75 to 250 is like an active range. Congratulations if it's under $100, honestly.
Yeah. It's tough now.
The only clients we have that are consistently getting less than $100 cost per leads are the ones who are actively branding with tomorrow marketing campaigns.
And have been for 5+ years.
Again, I'll point you to the episode last week. Go listen to those advertisers. Those guys are kicking the butts of their competitors.
Yeah.
Their competitors are probably paying 3 to 4 times for a lead because they're not as likable or memorable. That conversion rate, when you have a really well-branded campaign, tends to go up by a lot. And that's how you get more profitable in digital advertising.
I'm going to make a public service announcement real quick because I think it's important. Google search volume is going down and will continue to go down as AI rolls out. That means remember we talked about it being a bidding war. It's all supply and demand. Well, the demand remains as high as it is, if not continuing to grow, while the supply goes down. That means they will have to charge more per click every single time to make the same money or more money as their shareholders would like. And so Google will get harder. It has already gotten harder.
It makes our job, frankly, so much harder.
Yes, it will get harder because there will be less searches in Google. That is a fact.
Which will decrease supply, increase demand and competition, which will increase price. That's all going to go up.
Yep.
Let's talk about Facebook real quick. Cost per leads on Facebook are going to be way less because you're reaching way, way, way more people. Like for the dollar that you spend, you're probably reaching at least 10 times as many people on Meta, on even a lead gen campaign on Meta as you are Google.
Yeah.
So naturally, you're reaching more people, more are going to respond. However, the quality of them is going to be noticeably and always less because they were looking for pictures of their friends' kids and, whatever their algorithm's feeding them. They were on Facebook for entertainment, not because, let me go hire somebody. Now, Facebook is really, really, really smart. Meta is really, really smart. It will find somebody who's in the zone of buying and it will say, hey, take the first step. That is good news, but you're going to get frustrated because even though like a good Facebook cost per lead is like, I would say anything in the $20 to $100 range is reasonable. And you're going, wow, this is like way cheaper than my search engine ads. But fewer of them are going to pick up the phone. You're going to get bogus contact information. Just expect it.
It's going to happen.
As long as you are setting 1 out of 6 of them to an appointment, you're on benchmark as far as our numbers.
Yeah.
The millions of dollars we've spent on Facebook in recent times. 1 out of 6 of them should be an appointment. If it's less than that, you probably have something wrong with either the language or the clarity of your offer. But if you're at that 1 out of 6 rate, which is like what 18-ish%, you still ought to be able to make money. Now, the other 5 out of 6, 3 of them will be totally bogus. The other 2 just won't answer your calls and they'll make you mad. But guess what? 6 months from now, they're a qualified prospect. You just reach them sooner, so stay on them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Put them in your kind of your yesterday/tomorrow marketing system and work through those leads and be a part of their lives. Start adding value.
Call, and text them no less than 30 times before you even start to give up on it.
They took 12 seconds to raise their hand and say, I'd like to get a price on that. Yes. Or I'd like to maybe schedule with you. And you are doing them a disservice if you don't follow up with them until they tell you to stop.
Yes.
They've asked for your help, so help them.
Yes. All right, we'll leave you some age-old wisdom. Figures lie and liars figure. What we want you to be able to do is be the one who's figuring this data for your own comfort and your own strategy. So have a decent idea of how many impressions you're getting. If you're not getting a couple 100,000 in a month's time, you're probably just not going to get all that much from it. Know that you're getting a solid click-through rate, which means your ads are written well and they're enticing enough. That's 1% click-through rate on meta ads. That's 5 to 10% on search engine. Definitely know what the cost per click is, so you just know how strong the competition is and what you're setting yourself up for it to cost you. In service industries, $10 to $20 is probably pretty average. Anything more than that, you got big competition.
That's right.
And on Facebook, a couple dollars a click is probably about as much as you want to pay.
Yep.
And then make sure your conversion rate is at least 5%. Anything below 5%, you've got work to do on your landing page or your offer. And then ultimately, is the cost per lead that you're getting, is that trending you towards profitability because of your historical appointment set rate and your close rate? You know those things. It doesn't matter what sort of hogwash, Danny Fancy Pants is coming in with, the digital advertising weasels. You can bop them on the head and say, cool, I just did my own calculations and I think it's profitable or I think it's not, but we're not going to throw a pizza party until I'm making money.
That's right.
Cool. Join the Maven Marketing Mastermind at mavenmethodtraining.com. We can't wait to see you in there. We're having a blast. Send your questions to Maven Monday at frankandmaven.com, and we will be back here every week answering your real-life marketing questions, because marketers who can't teach you why
are just a fancy lie.
Have a great week.